Welcome, everybody. If you're on the East Coast, it is lunchtime. And I'm going to start off by sharing my screen and giving you an agenda for this next session. And while I'm sharing my screen, we'll do screen 2. I believe we have a poll that we can launch. And I want to find out who I'm speaking to, who's in the audience. If you guys can launch that poll. And if you can see my screen, I've changed the title slightly. Instead of, I can't believe you can do that in Lectora. Sure, you may not believe I can do it, but I want to put the I back into the session. I want you to think about everything that I'm going to share with you today. I want you to believe that you can do this. And I'm going to flash my agenda up while you guys are taking the poll. I guess the agenda is going to be, I'm going to start off with Lectora basics that pack the punch. I'm assuming that in this audience, and I'll confirm that once the poll results come in, that there are some people here today that are not Lectora users. I'm going to start with the basics. However, this is not a Lectora 101 course. I want to show you the things that I really value and I use a lot. I've been using Lectora for a lot of years. I've done some advanced work in Lectora. But let's take a step backward and look at some of the basics in Lectora that make what I believe makes Lectora such a powerful authoring tool. I'm going to spend a little time with that to start off with. Then we're going to go into some creative ideas that may have you think about e-learning a little bit differently. I'm going to share with you some previous coursework that I've done that goes beyond just having text, images, some interactions, and the next button. We're going to really bring people more interactive into the fold of traditional e-learning. And then I'm going to finish up with something advanced. For those of you that are high-powered users, whether it's Lectora or some other authoring tool, if you've been doing this for a lot of years and you consider yourself advanced, I'm going to share with you something that, and I've shared it before. So if you've taken my courses before, you know about this, but it's a way of creating personalized learning without a third-party platform, without artificial intelligence. And I've done it in Storyline 360. I've done it in Lectora, but by far, what I'm showing you in the beginning, the basics, sets Lectora up as a high-powered authoring tool that makes the advanced stuff that I'm going to show you at the end of the session much easier. So how are we doing, hosts and participants?
All right. Domenic, I will end the poll now and share those results with everybody. It looks like we have a pretty good mix of people with different levels of experience with Lectora.
Perfect. And the agenda I have planned out is going to be absolutely perfect. If you've never used it, you're going to love the beginning. If I see we got about 10% of the people that are advanced, if you want to multitask and grab a lunch or grab a cup of coffee in the beginning because it's too simplistic for you, but hang on, because at the end, I'm going to show you something that hardly anybody in this industry is doing, and it's so powerful. I really look forward to sharing that with you. Okay, we can close the poll. And one more thing before I get started on the first example is use the chat for 2 reasons. Number one, ask questions. I've got Stephanie and Christy that are going to help me out. I'm not going to be monitoring the chat, but they will. So periodically they can pop in and say, Dom, I got some questions for you. I'll do my best to answer them. And the other thing is share. Share with me, share with other people that are on the session. If you've picked up a cool tip, if you've learned something, just drop that in. I'd love to learn it. eLearning Brothers would love to learn it and share it with your other people. With that, let's bring up the first Lectora example. And this is going to be some basic tips. So you see here on the screen, what I'm going to be sharing with you is I'm going to share with you the structure of Lectora. And why is that important? Because each tool has its own foundation. Each tool has its own way of doing things. And that's sort of like sets the parameters, sets the limits as to what you can do, what you can't do, what's easy, what's difficult. And just about anything can be done in any authoring tool, but some things are a lot easier or a lot quicker depending upon the tool you choose. I'm going to show you not all of the basics, but I'm going to show you some of the basics that makes Lectora my preferred tool. And also, I'm going to show you some things that save you an awful lot of time. And when I'm showing you these things, if you're thinking to myself, well, I use the ABC tool and I could do it just as good, or I could do it easier, or wow, I'm using this tool and this blows me away. These are kind of comments I love to see in the chat. First section we're going to come to is page design. And you can add a page from the home ribbon, and I'm going to swing over to, I'm right there right now. If I click on page, this is the whole list, and I got a little screen capture here. And it's not just adding a blank page. Step back. When I say blank page, I love these tools. A lot of them have so many different templates and so many pre-made things and course starters. Lectora has them, Storyline has them. Most every major tool has them. But in my experience, for what I do, I'm either working with a corporate template and everything works within that, or when I do consultant work and I'm designing for another corporation, usually when I'm interviewing the client and when I do a learner analysis, a lot of that predetermines how I design a course. And very, very rarely do I find something out of the box. If you use out of the box course starters and templates, fantastic. It saves you a lot of time and you get really, really, really good looking results in a short amount of time. But I do a lot of things from a blank canvas. So here, what I'm talking about is from my blank canvas, from my blank page, and I want to add a page, I've got all these different options. And let me show you some. Now, this is a blank page that has these four title and 4 sections, which means everything is neatly arranged. It's nicely formatted. And all I have to do is enter my text and the page is going to be nice and neat. I don't have to create 4 text blocks and line them up and make sure that they're the same size and things like that. It's just, if you're going to create a page like this, pick this page template and it makes it so much easier. Here's another one. And you saw the long list. There's dozens and dozens of these. Here's one that wraps text around a picture. You would choose this page template, put your own text in, put your own image in, and you very quickly, in a short amount of time, have a nice looking page. And when you have a course with many pages, you know that by constantly picking from these templates, each page is going to line up perfectly. It saves you a lot of detail, adjusting things a pixel to the left or a pixel to the right. And here's one more page layout so you can see there's dozens of these page layouts. Can you start from a blank page? Sure. You could add text, you could add images, interactions, so forth, so on and so forth. And another page layout. Now, what I started doing here, and let me actually launch this page. What I started doing here, and I stopped. This is a long vertical page. If you're a Storyline user, articulate user, this might remind you of Rise vertical page. But I'm thinking to myself, why am I going to take the time and create this for this course when eLearning Brothers has already done that? And let me bring that up. Much better. Now watch as I scroll down. This is one course. You can see so many elements get animated. This is a vertical scroll page. This entire template can be downloaded from eLearning Brothers. You could just search for a vertical scroll and you could just replace the text and images with your own information. So you see there's a lot of options in Lectora for creating pages, even a long vertical page. Now the vertical page in my course, it's the only one vertical page in the entire course. So your option is, I could have an entire course based upon long vertical pages, or I could have a traditional course in a frame. And on my option, if I want to show a large infographic, for example, and the infographic can have links, and it can have pop-ups, and it can have interactivity, it can have video. But your option is, in a fixed frame course, you can have one isolated page that is long and vertical. I like that. Now here, I get into the actual structure. On the far left, and let me highlight this for you. On the far left here is the file structure of this Lectora course I'm showing you. And the terminology is a little bit different from other courses. Instead of using terms like slides, it uses terms like chapter and sections and pages. So a chapter is actually the large section, and in there you can have subsections, which means the introduction can be split into sales and technical as subsections. And each one of those sections can have multiple pages. And that's the course structure we have here. But what's important is this course structure is set up with a cascading inheritance from the top down, meaning what I have at the top of the title will appear on everything below it. What I have at the top of a chapter will also appear everything below it. This, for me, is a tremendous time saver. I put it in once, and it's replicated on all the pages below. Now, you may be thinking, what if I don't want it to be on every page below? Then don't put it at the top where it gets inherited, put it down on the page. So taking a look at my diagram here, at the very top of the course, I have it highlighted in blue. What I have here is going to be inherited to every page that I put underneath. And when I say page, if you're using Storyline, think of slide. It's an area of content. You would click the next button to go to the next slide. Here, you would click the next button to go to the next page. So everything I put in the top, it's automatically going to be replicated and inherited on all the pages below. So naturally, what information do you put at the top? You would put your navigation. You would put your company logo. You would put the course title. You would put the next and back buttons. These are the type of things that would naturally go at the very top, and they automatically appear on all the pages below. But the great thing, and what I really like about Lectora, is I am in control of just about everything. If I have that one long scrolling page, and I did not want to have my typical header or my typical footer, I can say on that one page, don't inherit this, don't inherit that. I have full control over everything, which is very powerful for someone that really wants to custom design their e-learning. In the green and the yellow sections, I have two chapters, and each one of those has its own inheritance. If I wanted to, it'll inherit all the navigation I put at the top. If I don't want it to, I could say for this section, for this group of pages, and here under page design, these pages we already looked at, I've got I've got 4 pages. So those 4 pages, if I wanted to, I could have it look totally different if I don't have it inherit and I put something different. And in the yellow section, which is what we're in now, I did do something different. I've got this breadcrumb auto text. So if I launch this page, I'll show you what the breadcrumb is. If I launch this page, here's my breadcrumb. It tells me the chapter, the Lectora basics, and the file structure, the actual page that I'm in. What I use this for is I could insert something once and use it on many pages. And I could quickly customize any section. This section I customized by putting this breadcrumb here, and I did not put it in the others. Now let's take a look at the next page. Here I'm talking about easy one-click inserts. Let's take a look at some of the things that are very easy to put in. The date and time, and you can see that right here. And by the way, this is the ribbon on the top. So one click to insert the date and time, to insert the page title. Now this page title is called Easy Inserts, and I've got it right here also. Page 8 of 9, the page number I'm on, and the total number of pages in the course or the chapter. The page of when this is totally customizable. So for example, in my company, we develop courseware for a global company and it gets translated. So I'm thinking when the course goes out for translation, page is going to be translated and of is going to be translated. And I'm thinking, and then sometimes if the language is a little bit longer, it messes up my formatting. So in the courses I develop, I'll just put 8/32. It'll just use the numbers in the slash. It zeroes out the translation. It zeroes out any formatting problems because I have it in the lower right-hand corner, and I might show it to you later on, really small. So the point I'm trying to make is these are easy to insert with a click, and you have full formatting control of them. And this last one here is the breadcrumb. So this breadcrumb that I put up here on the upper left, all I did was click, place it. If I want it to be red, if I want it to be bold, if I want it to be different font size, I can format it. It's a simple text block that I have full editing control over. Now let's take a look at more things that you could add with a simple click. Table of contents. So here is, and let me actually show you, here is an interactive collapsible tree. Okay, let's go back forward. As you can see from that table of contents, it works. One click and it was inserted where I wanted to have it inserted, and all the links work. The great thing about this is the table of contents defaults to being a table of contents for your entire course, but you have control over that also. If I wanted to have a separate table of contents for each chapter or each section in my course, I can do that. If I wanted to exclude certain things from the table of contents, for example, the exam, no. You can't take the exam until you complete the learning. I have control, and it's simple. I just click, uncheck a couple of things, and they're excluded from the table of contents. One-click insert of table of contents. Table of contents can be for the whole course or for part of the course. It can include or exclude whatever you want it to include or exclude. Total control over it. Are there any questions at this point?
We do have one question, Domenic. Can you talk about the animation of graphics when you scroll down? I think this is in reference to that scrolling course you showed as an example. How do you do that animation?
Yeah, I'll show you on another page when we have a graphic.
All right, great.
I'll get back to that shortly. Now, the other items I have here, these menu items, I didn't put any links here, but at one click of the menu, I'll come to an interface where I can say what colors I want, what items I want to have in the menu, and I can make my own custom navigation bar. I can change the formatting of it. It could be vertical, it could be horizontal, it could be a custom navigation for whatever I want. So for example, and I'm just thinking about this idea off the top of my head. This is not scripted, but let's say you were doing a course and they went through several pages of learning content, and then you had a knowledge check and they got it wrong. Now, if they got the question wrong, you could have this type of a menu, which was previously hidden before they answered the question, and have a action that said, if they get the question wrong, show this menu, and this menu would have links to key pages in that chapter for them to review. And you could say, please review the following pages and then try again. It opens up a whole wealth of possibilities. You could use this to build a custom navigation for your entire course. Drop it where? If you use this menu system for the entire course, where would you put it? Any answers coming in? I'm not going to wait too long because I wanted. Okay,
If
so
you want to make a
basically,
guess, you can post those in the chat, everyone. Otherwise, Dominic will just tell us the answer.
yeah. If I built this menu system and I wanted this to have this on the top and I wanted this to be my navigation system for the entire course, where would I put this? I'm going to create it once and place it in one place.
All right, we've got a few different guesses coming in.
Okay.
Some people say the upper banner, the top, create a separate page, put it at the top to inherit.
Yes. Okay, good.
All right.
Okay. Obviously, we want it up in the header area. Yes, that's where you position it. But where would you put it? So it's inherited in all the pages. We did get a correct answer there, and probably a lot of you had the correct answer. What I talked about previously, putting it at the very top in that blue section where it's inherited on all the pages. So I will put that in up on the top. It gets inherited throughout my entire course, that navigation that we just showed. All right. This check mark right here, it wasn't yellow before, was it? Before it was green. The yellow check mark is one of many symbols that we have to choose from in Lectora, where I could put in what's called a status indicator. In some development programs, this is not easy to do. It's extremely easy in Lectora. I could have a status indicator indicate whether a page, a section, a chapter, or the entire course, or whatever you want to attach it to. But the status indicator shows whether something has not been started yet, or when something has been started yet, in progress, or when something is completed. And typically, like with the check mark, it'll be green in progress, there'll be yellow in progress, green completed, and it'll be, I think, a gray color when it hasn't started yet. So you have full control of giving visual feedback to the user. If they start the course and come back the next day, they could see exactly where their progress is. And progress, this bottom piece right here, let me exit this for a moment. Okay, this is our progress bar. And I know in some programs, it's not very easy to insert a progress bar. The progress bar, you have full control over. You could format it, come up with your own graphics instead of just these little green progress markers. You could format it, and you could have this progress bar associated to the entire course. But having it associate with the entire course, would that include the exam? Probably not. You want to say that they finished the course and then make the exam available to them. You have full control whether you want the progress bar to be the entire course and the exam part of the course. Have a separate progress bar for the chapter. If it's a very large course, I'll know, am I halfway done with this chapter? Am I 3/4 of the way done with the chapter? Or you have it for the course. And you could have multiple progress bars in the same course. Again, it's one click to put it in, and then you can customize it and associate it the way you want. Okay, the question about the images. On those images were animated by clicking on properties and then transition in and selecting from a transition. So this one, let's say it was to float in, left, and then we'll preview the page. And you get that type of effect. So this way, as your page scrolls and you come to these elements, you'll see them floating, appearing, twirling in from several different animation objects. And that's how that's done. And then you have a timing parameter. If I click on this, go to properties, transition. I've got a speed element and a timing element. So if I want elements to transition in, like in PowerPoint, one sequentially, one after the other, or I can make the object hidden and not appear until someone clicks on it. And that's in the properties also. So if I put initially hidden, it will not appear. If I have a button to click on that says show me more information, I could have it appear and it'll float in. It'll have a checkerboard in. It'll come in with a blinds effect. So that's what I like about Lectora. I've got fine granular control of building my elements. Any questions on these one-click items?
It doesn't look like we have any specific questions about that example. Don't forget, everyone, if you do have questions, feel free to put those in the questions panel and we will get to as many as we can.
Now we're getting to one of my favorite features. This is something that's been around in Lectora for a long time. So if you're a Lectora user, hopefully you know about this already. But what I'm going to show you now saves me so much time. And it's called a library object, a Lectora library object. And what is a library object? It's a reusable asset or a group of assets. It could be considered a macro if you're familiar with macros and other programs like Excel. One click and a lot of different things take place. You can make your own library object, or you could use eLearning Brothers library of Lectora library objects that'll do things that are already pre-made by fantastic artists and designers. All right. What I like about this is I create it once and I could share it with my team. And I do this. I do a little more development work than some of my other instructional designers on the team. So I'll do some advanced stuff and then I'll save it as a library object and share it with them. And I'm going to show you examples of this too. You can reuse things. And what I keep forgetting is when I put a lot of time and effort into something, and there's always a chance I want to reuse it. Like I did one interaction with someone holding up a cell phone, and when people click different numbers on it, the content will change in it. It's like I could reuse that for other courses. I should have turned it into a library object, and then I could use it at any time I want. It saves me a lot of time if I can reuse my assets like that, and I could easily change a course template. Now, here's where we're going to go to a little demonstration. My course template has a gray header and a gray footer, and I've got my icons for exiting the course and my forward and next back buttons. And you know where I put this. I put this right on the top. So I'm going to go up to the top area, and I'm going to find those elements. I've got the footer, the back button, the next button. I'm going to delete it. And there goes my footer. And then I have a group called gray. Now check this out. I'm going to click a little plus sign. I hit it. So when I have a group called gray, and when I expanded it, there's a lot of different things in it. There's the frame, which is my little border on the left and right. It has my header, the logo, my title, my course title, my page title, the little exit button. I've got all this in a group. And this helps me because when I have a lot of elements and it's a long course, my column on the left, it's going to go down and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. If I could collapse items that I'm not working on, it takes up a minimal amount of space. And I could collapse entire chapters, entire sections of multiple pages. I could collapse them down to one line so I can easily focus on what I want to do. And I'm hoping that you can see from my passion that there's a lot of features into the way Lectora is structured that could quickly turn you into a power user. And this one I'm going to show you right now is one of them. So what I'm doing right now is I've just deleted all my navigation. It's totally gone. And then I'm going to come over to my library, and I made a folder. And so I had the gray, and I got a template called black. I'm going to double, now this is a Lectora library object. And watch what it is. I'm going to double click. And in one fell swoop, I've totally changed the template. I've replaced the header, the footer, my navigation buttons, everything looks totally different. And let me make sure I've got everything in here. I've got my, yeah. Okay, so now when we take a look at the page, I'm going to view the page. You see the way it's cascaded down to all my pages? This previous page now has a totally different look and feel to it. And there's my little animation. And we're back to the area web objects, library objects. It has the AWO extension to it. So what I just did is I designed the template and I saved it as a library object. If I want to go back to the gray, I go back to my library, and here's the gray template, here's the black template. If you're a consultant, if you design for, if your e-learning projects will have a different look and feel to it, you could save templates. If you're designing courseware for, let's say, the salespeople, and it has a different template from the technical people, because I do training for sales and technical, you can have different templates and change them on a dime. If the design team comes to you and says, we're redesigning the course template, not a problem. You could have fluidly go back between the old and the new. I'm going to show you more examples of this because it's a very, very big time saver. Let me collapse this page and go on to the, okay. So let me launch this. I'm going to click next. This interaction that you've seen here, I didn't design it. This is one of the pre-made library objects available from eLearning Brothers. But I did do a little customizing to it. I changed the background to match the orange theme. And this whole interaction is what I put into my course just by a click. I'll show you another example, and then I'll show you where I found it. This interaction was pre-made for me. If I go into design mode, all I have to do is click on the image and go to properties. That's a button. So I would have to find the actual image and then swap out the image with my own image. And if I use the exact same name, there's no programming to be done. I just replace button 1 with button 2, with graphic 5 with graphic 5 of my own design, and I have the exact same interaction with minimal amount of work. How did I do this? If I go to tools, back to the beginning here. I was inserting characters before, so you're getting a little glimpse as to what's available for me. Okay, so here is the main tools page. Wireframe templates, where you have actually placeholders for text and images. All the links are already done for you. A very quick way to get a course started up. Styled interactions. This is the interaction that I inserted, and then I customized it to match my colors. Knowledge checks. Having a simple question, it no longer needs to be so bland and boring. You have all these different styles you could pick from. click and reveals. Here's the one that I chose. I thought it was nice and complicated. It was a good one to demo. All I had to do was click and download it and bring it into my course as a library object. And I'm going to go back and show you the library objects again, and timelines and so on and so forth. So there's a wealth of pre-made interactions and graphics that you can easily insert into your course. The way I create one, so let's say, let's go back to let me show you how to make one. I'm going to insert a page. Right click, collapse all. Go down to my last page. It is blank. The way I create it is, let me go to right here. I'm going to click all the content on this page. And then I'm going to this is the file structure page. Let me select all my content. Right click, save as library object. We'll call this files. Okay. I'm going to come down to page 6. So we're going to pretend that this is standard content that I use in many courses. It could be a legal disclaimer. It could be a layout for a objectives page, and you want to make sure all your courses look exactly the same, whatever content it is. But now that I've saved it as a library object, I come to my library, and it goes into my default master folder, files, and it's done. And the great thing about this is if it has links, the links are preserved. Show you another example. Let me change my theme again. That's deleted. My library. If I put it in here. I don't think we're going to be divulging any secret information here, but here's the template that I use in my job. All right, so you can see each page now has a new template. But you've seen that already. So let's go a little bit beyond this. Now that I've got my template, this is what else I can do. My library. Let's add in closed captioning. So now, when I launch this page, I've automatically inserted. Now, in edit mode, I would type in the closed captioning I want, and I've got closed captioning on and off. It took a while to format that and to put in the actions, but now on any page that I want in my course, if I want closed captioning, snap of a finger, it's done. If I want to add audio, I should have here a placeholder. Oh, colors. I want to show you colors. Is no audio. And audio placeholder. There we go. Launch the course again. I have a little audio file that's silent and that just plays for a few seconds. I would replace that with my audio for the file, and the audio player is formatted, matching my template. It is positioned in the exact position that I want it. And if there's any links to the audio, that gets retained also. So you can see that by saving components of courses, components that I use frequently over and over again, it makes coming up with a new course so quick and easy. And there is more. Let's take a look at this one. Colors is a good one. Yeah, do colors next. With my company, we have what's called brand guidelines. I've got to use the same colors. And have to go looking on my computer. Where's that PDF file that's got the colors? I could import into any of my courses that I'm working on this page. And this is a separate page called colors. I'll launch it. You can see it's got its own page name. And now when I want to color a text box, or if I want to color text, I could pick from any of these company approved colors. And let's see if I have one more example that's really powerful. Survey, yes. What I just inserted is a survey. It's not a page. It's not a set of graphics. It's not text. It's not just a navigation bar. It's an entire different section of the course. It's external to my content pages. I would have to link to it. And the survey page looks like this. It's something that I use in all of our company courses. And what this does is the user, after finishing the course, completes a short survey and they submit it, and then it goes to the exam. So after the learning and before they take the exam, I want to collect some metrics, some learner metrics, and I want to find out what the learner thought of the course. They tell me what their job category is. So if it's a sales course and a technical person is taking it and they didn't like the course, well, you're not a salesperson, but it's the salespeople, we're looking at mostly for a sales course. And then was the course interesting, and did I learn something that's going to help me in my job? Very, very short and simple. So it's a no-brainer for people to complete, and they submit it. This is really powerful because there are entire sections of your course that you could say if it's a library object. I mean, you could actually say an entire course as a library object and replicate it just like that. But now I could build a course with an exam, without an exam, with a survey, without a survey, just by having these library objects that I could click and insert into my course. Any questions at this point?
Yes, Dominic, we do have a few questions right now.
Mm-hmm.
Related to this survey that you're showing right now, where does that survey report to? Where do the answers go after the learner submits them?
That is an excellent question. Someone's really thinking ahead here. And I'm looking at the time, it's my gosh, I got to pick up the pace because there's so much more I want to show you. So let me show you this and then we'll move on. If I go to the exam and properties and test survey right here, and here it is, behavior. Okay, I am sending my results to Google Drive.
Okay, that's awesome. Is there a way to show the cumulative answers from the survey so that participants can see how others have answered?
Yes, there is. And I have to apologize. The time is really getting away from me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fly through some examples. And the last thing I'm going to share with you is going to be really, really quick. And I'm going to show you exactly what you're asking for, the results with Google Drive. So let me move over to, I'm going to launch this course. Gamification is different from games. I know today in the conference, you guys are playing a lot of games, but gamification is using a fun interactivity that gets people to learn. What I created here is a course, and it's got I put this in, I had a lot of fun with this. And in one of my previous conference presentations, we went into this in depth. So I'm going to gloss over it. I want to show you some creative ideas, and so you could maybe perhaps think outside of the box. So here I have a interaction here, and on the right, I have my website that's embedded in it. And the goal of this gamification is to get people to go to my website and learn about what I want them to learn about. So they start from here, and the instructions say to click on a neighboring block, and I just lost points. I started with 100. I just clicked and got a 90. Okay, now I clicked on a block and I got a challenge question. The question is telling me to go to the homepage and get the answer from the homepage. So if I click on the answer and I check it, I got it correct. And the yellow means I can proceed. And if I keep clicking on it, okay, three-step approach. So I get the answers from reading my blog. And of course, if I click on the wrong ones, I'm going to get a red and I'm going to lose more points. And I click on here. So some of the key elements here, correct. Finally, I get to click on my destination and I get a nice little graphic here. I got bonus points. So even though my score had dropped down pretty low, I just picked up an extra 30 bonus points. So I got an 80, not too shabby. I did this really quick. It's a fun interaction and it encourages people to learn the content to complete the interacting game. Here's another fun one. I'm going to show it to you real quick so I can get to the last section. When you see all these fancy wild graphics, you know I'm just having fun right here. So here we have some content, and over here, I'm going to put my name in. Here, I have a chat. This is a very interesting situation where multiple learners can be, I'm going to go to the next page. Multiple learners can be taking this course. This shows the content. This shows the chat. And I can type in my comments. If other people, other learners are logged into this, are taking the course at the same time, they'll be logged into the chat at the same time. And now you and I can be learning together. So for example, if we're taking a look at I believe the next one is a challenge question. Okay, warning, impact imminent. We have to determine the next course of action. So let's say that this was we had some learning and now there's a question causing us to think. If I'm chatting with some of my co-learners, you'd be like, gee, I'm not sure. It could be A, it could be B. You know, Mary, what do you think? And Mary says, well, Dom, it's like, if you remember what they said earlier in the course, it definitely has to be B. Now we're learning together, we're discussing together, we're solving the problem together, and we're completing the course together. As the instructor, do I care how they learned? No. social learning is definitely one of the fundamental learning theories that are out there. And rather than continue with this, because I think you guys get the idea, now, what's better? How can I do something better than this? What's better than a chat? Anyone have an answer while I pull up the next example? So I got one better.
While you're pulling up that next example, could you show what app you're using for that chat? Like what chat service it is?
That's a good question, because, and the reason why that's a good question is, let me get rid of my highlight here. Okay, the reason why that's a good question is not every chat can be embedded. So I do want to give you the name of that. And it's Minute, M-I-N-N-I-T, Minute Chat. So if you Google that, it can be embedded. And the way I did it is I took the code for the chat and I embedded it into my course. It's an HTML object embed, very simple to do in Lectora. And I use the same method for the next one. Anyone come up with what's better than chat? Video chat. So here, it's the exact same example. Well, not the exact same. It's a very similar example. Only here, I have a video conferencing. And obviously, my camera can't log me in twice. But if you were logged in, I would see your picture and we could carry on the conversation. So in a previous webinar, we actually had people on live and they were able to, so now I have a section here with the learning content and a section dedicated for you and I to learn together. I could, if I have a lot of learning content, I could temporarily slide away. And that's, again, it's done with a click and animate type of a thing. And so this was done with, to answer the question that's going to come up next is, Dom, what did you use for this? Because I can't embed Zoom. I wish I could. I can't embed Microsoft Team meetings. I can't do that. But Jitsi Meet is a free service, and I'm sure they have paid options also. But at Jitsi Meet, you make a note of that. Will enable you to embed a video chat into your course. So now it could be both synchronous and asynchronous. I could get together with some of my learners and say, look, 7 o'clock tonight, while we all jump on and we'll take the learning together. Or a professor can set up different meetings. Okay, who wants to take the course at 3 in the afternoon? Who wants to take it at 5? Who wants to take it at 7? And students will say what time they're going to go on, and they'll take the course with their co-learners. All right, so that's the other course. And got very little time left. Let me show you some amazing stuff. And it'll also answer a question that was asked. This course, the templates are available for free. So to answer your question on how it's done, all the coding that's required, requires a little JavaScript. But what this course does is lets a learner take a course. And what I'm showing you right now, I'm going to give you the link to where you can take it and check it out with your colleagues. I just put my name in and I said, I got this link from a conference. Now it's asking me to, how do I want to take this course? This is powerful. How do I want to take this course? I, as a learner, now have some control on how the learning is being delivered. Do I want to take it from a designer's point of view, from a programmer's point of view, from a manager's point of view? Because in the audience right now, I don't know if all instructional designers, if there's some training managers, if there's some corporate people that just want to learn, what they can have their learning department do. So I'm an instructional designer, so I'm going to click on that. And on the bottom, this is a simple exercise that's designed to show you what's happening. So I give a little bit of learning content, there's a little bit of image, but this is telling me I'm on page D1. That means I'm in the designer section, page 1. If I click the next button, I'm still in the designer section. Why? Because I chose designer. I'm on page 2. Why? Because I clicked the next button. But what happens now if I say, okay, I'm also a bit of a programmer. How would, what is it? I want to learn about what you're talking about, but from a programmer's point of view. Now I'm on P2, which means I'm still on page 2. I'm not going back to the beginning because I didn't want the programmer's point of view at the beginning, but I want it now. So I am in control of how I take the course. And what do you think is going to happen when I click the next button? When I click the next button, I'm on page 2. Am I going to go to page 2 of what? I mean, page 3. I click the next button and I'm on page 3. Now I'm on page 4. I'm staying in the programmer's point of view. But now that I'm into the course, I'm thinking to myself, whoa, I think my manager would love this. I click on manager and I find out what I'm learning about right now. Let me learn about it from a manager's perspective so I could talk to the manager about it. Now, I want my manager to sell it to her boss, so I click on corporate. And I tell my manager, take this course and click on corporate, because now you get a corporate perspective on all the corporate benefits of this. So there's so many different ways. And now to answer the question that came up before, Don, can you see the Google results? Yes, you can. And here are hundreds of people have taken this course. And what I did on some of the results is what you're looking right here is this is the path that different people took in taking this course. And you can see at a glance, some looked at a lot of pages and some looked at very few pages. I color-coded these sections. So design is in red. So this one user right up here took all the design pages, then took another section, then took another section, but another user took the design section last. Some people took the design section, and that's all they took was the design section. I'm a designer, I'm not interested in anything else. Some people took a couple of pages and said, look, this is a little demo course. I don't have enough time. I'm being interrupted. I'm out of here. All these learning metrics you can get. And the key thing is, if your course is not adaptive, you're not going to get this wealth of information. On a linear course, everyone has to take pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right through in order. If you order branching, maybe they could branch. I'll take sales, I'll take technical, and you'll know that from this. But when you have multiple options and you track the results, you will learn so much about the learners. How many learners are taking all the pages, like a sponge, and want to learn everything? How many are in and out with the minimum amount of effort? Are there any cultural differences that determine that? Are the Asians more apt to take everything? And are North Americans lazy and they take the minimum? And I'm not saying that's the case, but these types of metrics from your learner audience, you're not going to get them anyplace else. And I'm seeing my time is just about wrapping up. So let me tell you how you can get more information on this. Go back to my PowerPoint. So this is what we're talking about, linear branching. And when you have adaptive, there's so many different ways you could get from point A to that center, point B. But take down these links. If you want to take the test drive course, and I encourage you to do so with your colleagues, and then compare results, bit.ly/li demo 20. You might want to do a screen capture of that. And bit.ly/li -results or lowercase, that will take you to the results page, which means you and your colleagues can go through the course in whichever order you want. Then you could go to the results page and Bob and Mary can say, we took the course exactly the same. Well, oh, we took the course differently. That's proof that the course is adaptive. How is it done? I'm running out of time, but I got to tell you, if you go to learnerintelligence.org, my blog page, you'll be able to go to the free resources, and it's all the templates for Storyline and Lectora are up there. And if you do this and implement it, get in touch with me, show me an example of your work. you'll be doing cutting edge, adaptive design, personalized learning that no one else is doing. If you're looking for a job and you put that on your resume, wow, are you going to stand out? If you show this to your boss, hey, if you get a raise, you don't owe me anything, but congratulations to you. With that, I see it's 1 o'clock. I don't think I have any more time.
Hey, Dom, thanks, buddy. You smashed it. I feel like if you could just go all day, I want to give you your own YouTube channel and just let people like soak you up. That was amazing.